Yes, as always, Buy or Sell is brought to you by Jock Market, jockmkt.com. It's the hybrid between fantasy sports and the stock market. Use that promo code DFO20. It's going to get you a $20 deposit bonus. Some big things that happened over the week on Jock Market. You remember back to when Toronto had that 5-1 beatdown on the Vancouver Canucks. I guess that was about a week or a little over a week ago now. Austin Matthews stock in that game started at $1. By the end of the game, it was up to $16. Check it out yourself, jockmkt.com. You guys started off the pod by talking about the John Davidson, Jeff Gordon situation. I'm going to say they both have new jobs in NHL management by the start of next season. Jason, you buying or selling?
I'm selling.
Okay.
Davidson's got 3 years left on his contract. Gordon's got 2. Like there's very few roles. Like Vancouver, in theory, could make sense for John Davidson. I have no idea though if he wants to move. Like that's you're moving across the country, like out of New York all the way to the West Coast. So Davidson, no. Gordon, does he want to take an assistant GM role? I'm gonna sell on both. I don't think either one's in next year, only because they both got contracts.
I'm selling, and it's more for Davidson. He's 68 years old. You mentioned he's got years left on his contract in New York that's paying him big money. And let's talk about his track record. Let's call a spade a spade. 15 years as a team president, 1 playoff round win. Why would you hire him? I don't understand. Why would you go out of your way to bring him in? So that's one. And I do think Jeff Gordon will be back in the game in short order. I think if there is a GM opening this summer, that Jeff Gordon gets the next job that he wants. And I do think there is going to be at least 1 GM job opening. I could see as many as 3 or 4.
Sticking where, let's move over to a team we're going to get into in a second here with Hawks GM Stan Bowman, but they're in a tough division. They're in a rebuild right now, but I personally like the way things are going in Chicago. I'll say that maybe not next year because they're going back to a tough division, but in one of the next 2 seasons, the Chicago Blackhawks will be a playoff team. Frank, you buying or selling?
Buying. I think you'll hear from Stan Bowman later about their quest to get more impact players. But I think that team was more competitive this year than many thought they would be. And I think they've got a blank slate. They're going to have plenty of opportunity to bring in and be ready to get one of those impact players. I think Jeremy Colleton has shown himself to be a good coach. And I just think the one complicating factor is that playoff picture and the division. I didn't want to tell Stan when we were doing the podcast, but if you look at his Central Division from last year, out of the 7 teams, he's going back to that and they're adding Arizona. 5 of last year's 7 Central Division teams made the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm selling, and for a few reasons. You know, the health of Jonathan Toews is a major factor for them moving forward. I think if Jonathan can come back and play, you know, that would change, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. So I look and it's hard. And Frank brought it up. Minnesota now was kind of average. They're on their way up. Colorado's obviously still an excellent team. So there's 2. St. Louis, like they're Nashville, like they're in a tough division as Frank alluded to. And it's hard because Chicago, unless they can win a lottery here, like they've got some good young players coming, but not great. And, you know, Stan talked about impact guys. They've got some cap space for sure, but it's not like there's a ton of real impact players that are going to hit the free agent market. There's a few, but, you know, going to Chicago, it's still a great place, right? It's got great fans. You got Patrick Kane, but I'm still selling for 2 more years. I think that, you know, the Hawks are probably 3 years away from being a playoff team.
Just to follow up before you ask the next question, just while we're looking at that Central Division for next year, you've got Colorado as a wagon and is going to be good for a long time, and Minnesota is a team on the rise. But after that, you've got a couple teams that have some question marks. Winnipeg had a good year this year. What do they look like getting thrown back into the Central next year? Dallas didn't make the playoffs this year. They were one of the 7. The Hawks and Dallas were the 2 out of the 7, which is amazing, that didn't make it. They're going to bounce back, but I don't know if that team has the ability to sustain long-term success. And I think Nashville is on a team going in the opposite direction. So I don't know. I think you got Colorado and Minnesota as sure things. I think that leaves some room for the Hawks to get in after that.
Yeah, the Jets offense, like Dubois is going to be infinitely better next year. I think.
Yeah,
no question.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Let's dig into some individual players here. ANZE KOPITAR got his 1,000th point the other day. I know this is going to sound, I think I know what both of your answers are going to be, but I figured we should give some love to KOPITAR anyways. I'm saying he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Greg, are you buying or selling?
Oh yeah. That's probably a pretty easy one. He's the first player from Slovenia to have 1,000 points. He's only the 91st player in NHL history to have 1,000 points. He's got 2 Stanley Cups. He's been one of the best two-way players in the game for a long time. I think when Kopitar's career is over, he will, him and Drew Doughty from that LA Kings are, punch their ticket. They're both going.
Yeah, I guess first ballot. He's definitely a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
First ballot or not, I guess I'll buy it. 2 Selkies, one of the premier two-way players in the game for a long time. 3rd in Hart Trophy voting. He's never been a first or second team All-Star.
Really?
I don't know. I mean, the points are there, the production's there, the consistency's there. There's no doubt he's a Hall of Famer. I just don't know if he's first ballot.
If the NHL had a Comeback Player of the Year award, it would go to Marc-Andre Fleury this season. Frank, you buying or selling?
Selling. Mike Smith. As good as Marc-Andre Fleury has been, and some would say he's coming back from getting stabbed in the back with a sword, I would say that Marc-Andre Fleury has always been good. You look at his numbers, he's been consistently excellent in his entire career. Very few drop-offs in a position where that happens all the time. Mike Smith, he's the guy that has had a fantastic year. He's a big reason why the Oilers are where they are. And to do it at his age, closing in on 39, I think he's the Comeback Player of the Year. I doubted the Oilers goaltending. A lot of people did, and he's proven us all wrong.
Yeah, it's hard to go with Fleury just because, we talked about Hall of Famer. That guy's going to the Hall of Fame. He just became the 3rd winningest goalie of all time. Like, I don't know if Mark's ever really had like a massive down year, all things considered. He's having an unbelievable season. I'm curious though, who's going to win the Vezina? Is he going to win it? Is Vasilevsky going to win it? That to me is going to be an amazing race. But yeah, Mike Smith, I think the age for sure. I will say this about Smith though. If you go back to January 2020, from January 2020 till the end of that season, Mike Smith was pretty good. Now, he wasn't 925 save percentage good, but I think it was like 916. This year, though, he's taken it to a new level. He's going to set the Oilers franchise record for highest save percentage in a season. He's currently at 925. And the thing about Smith is he went and, he got a new trainer, not a goalie coach, just a different trainer. And you could see it like I think Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine says belly flops per 60 are down significantly for Mike Smith. Like, he's altered just the physical part of his game at 39. I think a lot of people are like, damn, at 39, I'm just hoping to drop a few LBs, not suddenly, become
at 33
top 10 goalie.
Hey, just so I had it here, because I'm actually writing this story for next week about Mike Smith being the Comeback Player of the Year. The other candidates that I had, Oscar Lindblom from the Flyers, Jesse Puljujärvi, with what he went through to actually make it back, not just in the NHL, but with the Oilers, and to be a really productive player. Drew Doughty had a big comeback year, and I would say Joe Pavelski from a quiet year, and then he was a playoff force to carrying it over to this year. He would also be in that category.
Well, we're giving a lot of love to the Oilers here, but I'm going to keep it going because how could you not bring up Connor McDavid a little bit? He's on his way to, in all likelihood, his 2nd career Hart Trophy. I'm going to say he wins at least 5 in his career. 5 Hart Trophies in the career for Connor McDavid. The staggering number. Greg, are you buying or selling?
Oh, man. I think it's been proven at times that it's difficult because the
voter fatigue.
They start looking for other options. And hey, Austin Matthews is going to challenge some years because he's such an elite goal scorer. There's no question. But the funny thing is today, right now on Friday, Connor McDavid has more assists than Matthews has points, right? And so end the discussion of Matthews because of his 40 goals should be in the Hart Trophy. I'm sorry. Well, the guy has more assists than you have points. And McDavid's 2nd in the league in goals. So, he's winning this year. It might be unanimous, which doesn't happen very often. Even when Kucherov crushed it, he wasn't unanimous. 5. God, probably selling because I just think it's hard. But, God, McDavid's just... You know what? Actually, I'm questioning myself. No, so that means just means 3 more. In the
3
next
more
10
in his
years.
career.
Yeah, 3 and 10. Yeah, he can win 3 in the next 10 years for sure. So I'll say 5.
You kind of, that last stat kind of swayed me. I was originally going to say sell for all the reasons you mentioned with the voter fatigue. And I do think that's a real thing, because I myself, at some point this year, when the debate sort of 20, 30 games in was, oh, Patrick Kane and the magical season that he's having carrying the Chicago Blackhawks, we kind of knew they would fall off a bit. But I had to slap myself and say, why am I looking for reasons to not pick Connor McDavid having the best season of his career? You know, it's been ridiculous what he's accomplished. And that's, again, not to take anything away from a guy like Matthews. 40 goals in 49 games is insane. It's a 66 goal pace. You know, no one's done that in a long time. So I just think there's other really talented players coming along, coupled with the voter fatigue. And I guess I'm going to sell it. He's probably in the 4 range, and I don't know if he gets to 5.
There you go. That is Buy or Sell, brought to you by Jock Market. Check them out, jockmkt.com. Also search that on your app store and use the promo code DFO20 for a $20 deposit bonus.